Kenan-Flagler Business School is often regarded as one of the best in the nation, and as someone who just graduated with a degree at Kenan-Flagler and has gone through basically everything from getting rejected to getting accepted to the major and the minor, going abroad and everything in between. Here are my honest impressions of Kenan-Flagler and whether it's worth it or not, because one of the biggest questions I often get from students that are looking to apply to UNC is, I only want to do business. Is it still worth going to UNC without the guaranteed chance of getting in? So we're going to talk about all that right now. So let's start out by saying, yes, to be a business major at UNC, you have to apply to Kenan-Flagler. You can't just declare your major as business in freshman year. You have to declare it as something called pre-business and then apply between your freshman and sophomore year, unless you get into the Assured Admit program. But for the vast majority of you, you will have to apply to Kenan-Flagler, and here's what that looks like. So you'll be able to start applying in the July before your sophomore year, and the application includes 3 long essays, 3 short essays, which are 100 words or less, 1 virtual interview where you're not actually interviewing with someone, and set the question flashes up on the screen and you have to answer it through your webcam, a bunch of sections for you to put your extracurriculars and things you've done in high school or in freshman year of college, and a resume that you have to submit that has to be in a specific Kenan-Flagler orientation that they post on the website, which, to be honest, I really don't like the way they set up this resume template, but everyone has to do it just so it's all streamlined, I guess. So you work on all of that from July, and then usually in the first week of September of your sophomore year, that's when you submit. And then in October, you'll get your decision. My opinion on this application process is, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, with the prestige of Kenan-Flagler, with the amount of people that want to be in it versus the amount of people that it can sustain, and all the resources it has, some sort of application process is necessary to weed out people. Because honestly, there are some people that would just join the business school just to have the business school name but not really have a true interest in it. So this helps to narrow that down. However, I do think the process itself could be changed to make it a little less tedious and stressful. First of all, the timing of it. If you're doing something that's somewhere between freshman and sophomore year, or you're taking a class, you're gonna have so little time to work on everything, because by the time August rolls around, you're starting to think about sophomore year, you're moving in, and all of that's happening. Meanwhile, you have to submit this application in literally 2 weeks from the start of the year. And 6 different essays plus all the other stuff is a lot. They could maybe cut 2 of the essays down. I really don't think that would be that big of a deal, but what do I know? I don't think they're going to change it anytime soon. In fact, it's only going to become more competitive, so maybe they'll add something. I just really don't like the application process. It's very annoying, and there is a little bit of subjectivity to it, but with any kind of application process, that's going to be the case. Additionally, to apply to the business school, you have to have 4 or 5 different prerequisite courses done, either going to be done in sophomore year or finished either in high school or freshman year. And this part is improving. They used to require Econ 410 to apply, so be thankful for that. But the rest of the prereqs, I guess, are pretty necessary, like Econ 101 and Intro to Stats. Let's say you get accepted and you're in Kenan-Flagler. Nice. Well, unfortunately, only half the hard part is over. I will say, inside of Kenan-Flagler, you get access to amazing resources, super high amount of people to network with and just get to know and help expand your business horizons, or whatever you want to call it. It is a huge plus of being in the business school and getting accepted. Even to the minor like I did, I still had full access to all of Kenan-Flagler's resources. That goes for stuff like career preparation, internship, interview help, and just lifelong access to these people that also went to Kenan-Flagler at some point in their lives, and most of them are off to bigger and better things right now. However, being a part of the school does not come with a little bit of competitiveness. You saw a glimpse of it with the application process, and now once everyone's in, it doesn't stop. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's one of the biggest things that kind of surprised me, but in hindsight maybe shouldn't have, about Kenan-Flagler. I didn't like it that much. Kenan-Flagler has a very cutthroat kind of competitive environment, not necessarily just for classes, but even for things like jobs. You're going to see a bunch of people start to post about internship acceptances and job acceptances starting in literally August and September of the summer before they start their position, which is just insane, but that's how consulting and investment banking work, which is what a lot of the people do here. So as someone who's concentrating in marketing, and a couple friends who I had were doing real estate and other stuff like that, that can be a little intimidating and annoying to see and to hear all around the school. Like, I couldn't go a day in literally November without being asked, hey, what are you doing next year? Like, I don't know yet. Yeah, that was a downside for me, but it's just something that comes with being in a high level of any kind of school. And I will say, like, in classes, group projects that I've done have not always been the best. A couple have been nice, but most of the group projects that I work on for my other major, which is media and journalism, have been a lot more fun, a lot more collaborative than the ones that I've worked in the B school, and I think some of that does have to do with the people that are inside of it. But speaking about classes themselves, you are going to be required to take a multitude of different business courses. I'll put up a list of all the required ones right here. As you can see, they span quite a bit of different subjects in business, some of which will not be relevant to what you want to do at all. Some are kind of like general education credits, but within your major, business ethics or strategic communication. These are classes that no one really wants to take, but are somewhat necessary to just know in the business world. I know that some of these classes are actually half semester. That's a big thing in the B school is half semester classes that are 1.5 credits. They also do require a good amount of elective credits, and I will say some of the electives are really interesting. You can definitely find ones that are more concentrated in what you want to do. So they're a lot more fun and a lot more interesting. And a type of elective that you can definitely do to fill one of these credits is a GIE, which are 2-week study abroad programs that take you in a cohort of like 20 students. You go to a different country, a different city for 2 weeks, learn about business and their practices there, and you have like one essay to do at the end, and then boom, 3 credits. So that's something that's really nice that Kenan-Flagler has that I took advantage of with my Netherlands GIE that I did, and a lot of people have as well. And then we move on to the building itself. And I have a lot to say about the building. First of all, I absolutely hate its location. I hate that whoever built this, however many years ago, was definitely just trying to show off the school's prestige by putting it on top of a hill at the very bottom of South Campus, where it's literally 15 to 20 minutes to get to from any other department building on main campus. Just for that separation, I think it adds to the separation that people often feel from business majors. I talk to other UNC students because if you have all your classes here, you might as well just stay here and not go to main campus all that much. So I really don't like where it's located, but obviously that's just something that's not going to change. Classrooms themselves are okay. I think they're better than the average UNC classroom on main campus, just because they were renovated relatively recently, I think. Yeah, the row in the middle is super hard to get into, tiny nitpick that I have, but it's really annoying if you come into class late and that's the only seat. You gotta like push everyone and be like sneakily into that seat, but it's impossible. There's obviously just one screen in front of all of the classroom, and it's not very good for collaborative work as well because there's no like tables. You have to like turn around and look up or look down. On the bottom floor there is a small cafe, which is nice. You don't have to move out of this, again, isolated location to get food. There's like 3 or 4 small local Chapel Hill restaurants that operate out of tiny stands in it each day, and the food is not bad. There's a salad bar, a bunch of snacks. On the other side of the bottom floor is just a big kind of loungy area to do work in. Not the best, not the worst. And same with the study rooms. They're nothing too special, but they get the job done. You can reserve them pretty efficiently through your Kenan-Flagler email, which is another thing I did mention. If you get in, you will have a separate Kenan-Flagler email from your general UNC one, which a lot of people have mixed opinions on. I personally used to not be a fan, but I started to warm up to it. Now, it is definitely worth mentioning that finally, after so many years, they are expanding Kenan-Flagler, building a new building that's going to be called Bell Hall. I think it's supposed to be done in 2025 or 2026. They just tore down the whole area near the parking deck. There's non-stop construction happening right now behind the camera where I'm filming this, and it's going to be non-stop for the next 2 years. So if you're going to go here, get ready for a lot of construction noises all the time. The main ramp up to the school was blocked, which makes parking in front of the building very annoying to do, but I think it'll be worth it because the new building, from whatever concepts they put up, does look pretty nice, and it's going to have a few classrooms, conference rooms, and a big lecture hall, I think. So yeah. Also, the main lecture hall in Kenan-Flagler is called Corey Auditorium, and it's your very standard lecture hall. It's where Busy 100 is, which is one of those prerequisite classes. Yeah, overall, the building itself, I think, is better than a regular UNC department building for sure. But if you're spending all of your time here, it can get old pretty quickly. So for as high of a business as Kenan-Flagler is regarded to, I was hoping for something a little better. Like I went and saw Northwestern's the other day. So nice. Kenan-Flagler still gets the job done. It has all the essentials. There's also a ton of clubs and organizations that are affiliated with Kenan-Flagler. Some you can only join once you're in, some you can just join before you apply or whenever. There's things like the Kenan-Flagler Operations Club, there's the Kenan-Flagler Marketing Club, there's 180 Degrees Consulting, which I know a lot of people that want to go into consulting, which is a lot of Kenan-Flagler apply to. And it's just a wide array of things that is definitely a positive for being in Kenan-Flagler. Also, one last thing worth mentioning is Kenan-Flagler does have additional tuition. I'm pretty sure it's something they have outlined on the website, so it should be expected, but it is a little annoying. It's like anywhere from $500 to $1,000 more per semester is what you have to pay to continue being in the business school. Overall thoughts about Kenan-Flagler: I really am not a fan of how separated it feels from UNC as a whole, from the location to the extra tuition to the application process. But looking at Kenan-Flagler in itself, the building is alright and nothing to be really worried about. Access that you gain to resources and people, honestly unrivaled except in the other major business schools in the US. You'll probably have to take some courses that you don't want to take or you're not that interested in, but it's kind of a price you have to pay in order to just get a general business administration degree, which, you know, if you change what you want to do in the future, that can be really useful. And the competitive, cutthroat environment, it's something that I wasn't a fan of at first. I'm still not, but you get used to it, and it's just the nature of being a business major at UNC. I think it's definitely worth coming to UNC if you truly know that you want to do business and you have a little bit of experience in high school to show for it, or if you have a goal to make experiences in freshman year that you can write about in your application. If you're not even sure if you want to do business, or you're coming to UNC with the idea that I'm 100% going to do business no matter what, maybe rethink that, because it's not true. It's a difficult application process. I didn't get in my freshman year. You could always try to apply to a business minor, which is equally as competitive, but I think it supplemented my major well. And I really enjoyed still getting access to all the resources while only having to take like 6 or 7 total courses in here. And yeah, just be prepared for a grind of a summer after your freshman year if you want to come here. If you really want to do business, I think it's still worth going through all of that to get to this point, because Kenan-Flagler on a resume looks really good. And I've had a couple of interviewers ask me specifically about Kenan-Flagler just because they saw that on my LinkedIn or whatever. So yeah, that's going to do it for my impressions of Kenan-Flagler. There's obviously a lot more that goes into it, so if you have any specific questions about the application process, about life in Kenan-Flagler, let me know, and I'm happy to help. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you later. Peace out.